we've got some folks on Zoom. Welcome, family members on Zoom. We think we've got about 10 or so of you, 11. I think 11, 10, because I think one of those is me. So thanks.
And we can't see you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the webcam is not working, but you should be seeing the shared screen.
We sure see that. Okay.
What's that?
We sure see that, the shared
Yeah,
screen.
yes.
Letting you know we can't
All
see
right.
it.
So folks on Zoom can hear me as well. So I just wanted to sort of welcome you. I wanted to give you some updates on the Beyond Boundaries program. We've got family members of Beyond Boundaries students. We have Clara here, welcome Clara, and Mariah Carter is here as well. Welcome. So let's just kind of get to it. I have I guess maybe about 40 minutes of something of sort of content to share with you, updates to share with you, but also want to give folks online and also here a chance to get to know each other. So folks we have in the room today, hey, how you doing? Welcome. So we've got Jenny Houghton. Jenny is the Assistant Director of Beyond Boundaries and Assistant Dean in Social Work at Brown School. Welcome, Jenny. Thank you. We have Simone Picker who's letting folks in because the building closes apparently along the side. So I'm not sure if that's how Campbell got in, but yes, that's how. And myself, I'm in my 11th year now at Washington. I'm teaching performing arts and in the Beyond Boundaries for 2 years now. So I want to give you some program updates when it comes to the numbers. We have been growing as a cohort year to year. We've got 22 in the 3rd year class. We've got 41 in the 2nd year class, and we're walking 59 students in the 1st year class. So we're glad you're here. Welcome. And so I wanted to share with you not just those numbers, but what I like to say sort of the root thought of what they're thinking. This is a word cloud created from the big questions those students have in the first 5. And I like to sort of see this as sort of a snapshot of what sort of topics that they want to tackle. So this is a demo class, class of 2023, class of 2024. So moving on, so this is the class of 2024. It's a word cloud that represents them and how they think. And this is the brand new class. This is a word cloud created from their applications, all 59 of them. And so at a glance, we can get a sense of the type of topics they want to tackle and how they want to change the world. Oh, and I also want to share with you that the fact that in this most recent year, we've actually had an increase in a number of different areas, from first-gen folks to folks of different cultures and backgrounds. So it's really nice to see. We had 1,906 applications for the current first-year class into Beyond Boundaries alone. 1,906, we reviewed about 300 essays. And as I said, we have 59 students in the program right now. I want to kind of share with you the BB community and how we've been building that, particularly this semester with this first-year class, the class of 2025. And in kind of a extracurricular versus curricular way, I want to share with you beginning when I last saw you, actually, many of you, was right before Bare Beginnings, our orientation process. We had an all cohorts brunch outdoors in Forest Park in a beautiful pavilion out there. So we're trying to get students across all 3 cohorts to get to know each other and really kind of connect across disciplines and across ideas. We do a really fun event called 3 Slides in 2 Minutes. And it's an opportunity for students to kind of do a quick presentation, very quick presentation about a pet peeve they might have and some examples of, for example, a number of students often say in the application process that people get kind of confused as to where WashU is. They think it's in Seattle. So there was one very brief presentation by Sean Zhu about what name changes we could consider at WashU. University of Ozark was in there as well. And I think Mariah, she came up with this sort of this idea that birds are a tool of government surveillance, and so that she had some reasons of kind of her theories in that area. So it was a lot of fun to kind of laugh around and each other and have a good time. We also did something called a name art exercise where students submitted and shared objects that were in different, basically positions to spell out their own name, things that are most important to them. So yeah, you see some of these, Alalo and Aisha and Chandler and Siobhan and Caleb had lots of great kind of interactions explaining their name art. We've also done a number of things. Jenny and I are what are called faculty associates for Dardic, where many of these students are housed. And we do a lot of sort of programming with them that kind of gets them together, gets them out of the dorm, and gets them to know us as faculty members outside of the classroom. One thing we did before our first semester even began was We went to see a show, Sound of Music, out at the Muni. So a number of us went out to the Muni and saw a show. It was fantastic fun. Jenny joined me on a show or a St. Louis Zoo. You'll see Jenna up there. We went to the St. Louis Zoo together, had a great time. Welcome. We did a thing called Shakespeare in the Streets. Shakespeare in the Streets is an opportunity for students to kind of get out beyond the WashU bubble and really get to know St. Louis outside of that bubble. So Shakespeare in the Streets is an adaptation of a Shakespeare piece for a specific community. So in this case, the community was the Ville. We had, you'll see, it was really quite gorgeous. It was right in front of a school building in the Ville. So it was really both a history lesson and a way to see Shakespeare in a whole new way. We had our faculty fellows. This is Bill Tolman and Bonnie. They are the faculty fellows, meaning they live in Nemroff, which is part of the Way Crow Residential College. And so they live with your students. And they're great, great fun to work with and play with. Campbell's back there. Campbell, Sharp, and Aviva Diamond co-own Swap. It's a thrift store on campus. And we did a thrift store crawl of sorts on a Saturday afternoon. It happened to be a very rainy Saturday afternoon. Or morning, late morning, and we went to, first started at Swap and then went to some thrift stores and to an IKEA. And it was a lot of fun kind of doing that with them. We've done a couple of programs around this idea of learning to learn, basically convening folks like Bill Tolman, myself, Trevor Songray, and Jenny here to talk to students about how they should consider taking exams, writing papers and things like that, hopefully kind of demystifying their expectations that might have. So learning to learn. I actually like to call this learning to learn to say no to student groups because there are too many student groups out there. So that's kind of the type of things we did just post orientation. I have some class updates I want to share with you. This is the class of 2023. Just some updates on the type of things students have been doing. Molly Rogers actually backpacked her way across Costa Rica the entire 2020-2021 school year. So she was logging in from remote places, really kind of exciting. Tinuola is actually one of our star students who's also a SLU McNair scholar, which means she gets all kinds of access to graduate type mentoring fellowship and that type of thing. We're very proud of Tinuola. Emma Singh is, she got an Association of Women Faculty Award. She's also done a number of different internships for ArtSeed Defenders, National Women's Law Center, and that type of thing. And does all kinds of great stuff around that area. Colleen Avila worked on a program called Arts as Civic Engagement, where she was assigned to the Contemporary Art Museum and as basically someone on their staff to kind of help them with programming. And there was a nice ceremony that I attended over at COCA, not too far from here. And Colleen was the featured speaker for Arts as Civic Engagement. She talked about her experience in that program. Jamie Zhu has been working at Adalo, as does my own stepdaughter, actually. Adalo you may not have heard of, but if you've engaged with the Beyond Boundaries app, they are the company behind that app. They are started by 2 alums, and Adalo was actually the first 5 letters of Ada Lovelace's name. So a really great company working with our students. Kylie Kikawa spent last summer on a public health summer research program on aging. It's kind of an outgrowth of the WNM64 class on aging, and her interests are across neuroscience and dance. And so she had a great experience doing that. Liam Dye is one of the RAs in Dardic. He's actually done an internship with this real estate company in Kansas City where he's from, and he's about to do another one with Goldman Sachs moving forward. And Sam Coe just told us the other night that she's working for this disruptive creative agency called Movers and Shakers. She's got an internship lined up with them. So that's the class of 2023. Class of 2024, these are our second year students. There's 41 of them. We really haven't had a chance to take a picture with all of them given COVID, but I want to share with you some updates from them. Brandon and Kemi here were both Goldman scholars. Do I have that right, Jenny? I think Goldman scholars, yeah? Fellows, excuse me, Goldman fellows. And there was a ceremony. Kemi is not pictured here. She was not able to be there, but you'll see Brandon on the far right. So that was the same ceremony that you saw Colleen at. Julianne Aronson is an environmental impact intern with one of our departments there, Energy, Environmental, and Chemical Engineering. Jimmy Donahue actually is a volunteer with something called Buddy Up. It actually teaches those with Down syndrome, kids with Down syndrome tennis. He's one of our TAs as well. Ruth Ann Dunn is an aspirational peer mentor, APM with Deneb Stars. Kimberly Huang is a clinical research intern at the School of Medicine. She was in Taiwan all of last year, and thankfully she's on campus with us now. Jessie Wills actually won, she was a finalist for a McLeod Writing Prize, and there was a nice event that I attended there in Bowles Plaza outdoor event, and that you'll see out here. She was honored at that event, was a finalist for that a prestigious award. Ulrika Wu is another one of our TAs. Oh, I thought I had a slide there, sorry. Ulrika Wu is actually with Scandalaris Center. She's working on a fellowship with Scandalaris Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship. Noah Vermes is also doing this great, here it is, yeah, he's an Embark Scholar intern at KPMG. He's also been pretty active with the radio station, I believe. And so I also want to highlight these 6 second-year students. Hey, these 6 second-year students are our TAs for the Beyond Boundaries seminar, which, as I said, is almost 60 students. So we need this help. We essentially have 10 students each assigned to each of these 6 TAs. They're all members of the second-year class, and we really rely on them a lot to help us with that class that I co-teach with Jenny here. So that is the class of 2024. And then moving on to class 2025, don't have a whole lot of updates. We're in our 9th week now, I think, here at WashU. But I've already seen folks run for office, particularly when it comes to Dardic. There's a number of your students, actually, they're big fans of Woostel Way Crow. I love the Only the Best Join the Nest. That's Woostel Way Crow. Ella Erden and Pedro and Mariah Jacobs and Clarissa, all these folks are Beyond Boundaries folks who are in leadership positions at Dardic and sort of leadership for their building, their dorm, essentially. So we're really excited about that class. Moving up next to the Beyond Boundaries app, I want to make sure that parents and families know that they can download the app as well. You don't have to be a student in the program to download the app. And here's a very quick lesson on how it works. These different categories are worth different point totals. So for example, something like this is worth 1 point versus a conference or something like that worth 3 or 4. A full class is worth up to 20 points. But the idea here is that students get up to 50 points in their first 2 years in Beyond Boundaries. So for example, if you click on speaker exhibit, you might see that there's this free speech and art activism thing going on. I might be interested in going to that. So interestingly enough, you click interested in going, and then you see who else is going. And then we connect students across disciplines, across ideas, 3rd and 2nd year students, 2nd and 1st year students. And the proof, if you want to call it that they attended is uploading a selfie to the app. They have a choice at that point to put it in a public gallery. So you'll see a lot of our students pictured here in these photos. And then some other events that have happened out of the app, the way the app is connecting students. There was a Scandalaris Center open house. A number of our 1st year students are in this picture. We've got this, I think it was a climate conversation series. So you'll see some of those folks attending that. These are all 1st year students. And then there was apparently an open house at the law library. And this was some fun with an elevator on a mirrored ceiling, I believe. So where students are kind of going to all kinds of events together, using that app as sort of the driver of that. I want to move on as well to curricular engagements. There's a couple of kind of career, what I'd call mentoring pieces to our puzzle here at WashU. And the first one here is creative collaborations. We just relaunched this like 2 weeks ago. This was a program that was basically started by a professor in the music building called Todd Decker and Heather Corcoran from right over here in the Sam Fox School of Design and Visual Arts. That program has now been relaunched under the Beyond Boundaries umbrella. Basically what it is it's a way for students to do creative capstone projects together. For example, writing a book together, co-illustrated perhaps by another student. So at least 2 people in a group can then collaborate together. I have a short video here I'd love to share with you about that program.
I'm excited to share with you an announcement about a new initiative called Creative Collaborations under the umbrella of the Beyond Boundaries program. Creative Collaborations is an opportunity for 3rd and 4th year WashU students to work in teams on modestly funded and alternative format creative capstone projects across disciplines. The idea is fairly simple. Have you ever wanted to create a film, musical, animation, or interactive website, or perhaps design a book, entrepreneurial enterprise, social impact initiative, or even a fashion line? In the past, creative collaboration projects have included a stop-motion animation film, a lacrosse ball launcher, and even an illustrated book highlighting inequities in St. Louis via interviews with community partners. Through creative collaborations, we hope students find inspiration across multiple fields, discover student partnerships in the creation of capstone projects, connect with faculty outside their own units whose expertise is important to the success of the project, and get students thinking and collaborating across disciplines. The result of creative collaboration projects will show to the world the interdisciplinary collaboration across disciplines that makes Beyond Boundaries and WashU distinctive. I really hope you consider finding one or more WashU student partners and consider applying for a creative collaboration grant today. To find out more, visit the Beyond Boundaries website and click on Creative Collaborations in the Resources tab.
All right, so that's creative collaborations. We also have a really, I think, unique to Beyond Boundaries. I've been collaborating with a colleague at UC Berkeley on building and developing this platform called the Pixago. Pixago is Greek, meaning to clarify. And basically the way Pixago works, it's a matching system whereby a student kind of creates what's called a skills fingerprint of sorts by uploading information, not just top line information about what your major or minor might be, but all kinds of information about what you do and what you'd like to study. You then create a profile that really kind of leverages not just your skills, which you learn here at WashU, but also your social capital and occupational identity. And through doing that, basically we did a pilot in the summer of 2020 with 10 current Beyond Boundaries students and 10 alums. And some of this is some of the data that came back. Students were really engaged and inspired by essentially near peers, recent alums, who kind of made hope visible to them, made a kind of a very kind of made thinking about the end of your WashU career a little less traumatic. So it was really important to kind of see that work. And now we've launched it to the whole department, or the whole program. This, I can't show you another student's profile because that would be a little private, but I'll show you mine. It's probably not a sort of surprise at all that I have no bar on my athletic part. I have no athletic at all. But you'll see that you have these competencies that kind of come out of that profile once it's completed. And then you'll be kind of matched with other students in the program and also recent alums of WashU inside of that particular umbrella. So that's the way Pixago works. We really want students, we have all 59 students in the first year class officially have profiles. Some of them need to flesh that out a little bit, but it's working out pretty well. We have a meetup, we call it, on November 16th, where we'll be inviting on Zoom, actually, a number of near-peer alums, and we'll have our current students there. Students will drop in and out of breakout rooms, just talk about someone they've been matched with in their career. So the fall of 2021, this curricular aspect that I want to tell you about, the biggest piece to the Beyond Boundaries sort of program in the first year is this seminar that I co-teach with Jenny here. This seminar is really, I think, a highlight for a lot of students about kind of what my colleague calls cranial fireworks. There's lots of really amazing ideas that come out of these panels. We have these amazing panels comprised of students, faculty, staff, sometimes recent alums, and that type of thing. We put them on a panel to talk about something. We've done 4 already this semester. Every other week we have one of these panels. We did one on interdisciplinary education. We did another one on a teacher education panel. By the way, Andrew Butler and Jamie Ake, who you see listed here, were just named, they just won a Emerson Teaching Award. So we have 2 Emerson Teaching Award winners on this panel. We did another one on just the class of 2023 and 24. So again, for the first year students, being able to kind of see their path ahead by talking to students in just the second and third year classes. And then we did most recently a panel on science. We had some amazing folks across public health and basic earth and planetary sciences, chemistry, you name it. We had lots of folks on that panel to talk about science. And Kyla Kikawa, who you sort of saw earlier. We've got 2 more panels coming up this semester, one on physical and mental health. We'll have Steve Lawrence, who's actually been really instrumental in what's called the COVID monitoring team, the CMT team. But we've got folks from psychiatry, we've got someone who does art therapy from all over the university to talk about physical and mental health. And then we do something called the leadership or leader problem solver panel. It comes on the heels of a big conference we have here called She Leads. And so we call this She Leads Part 2. And so we've got some great folks, including the new Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Dr. G, we call her, Dr. Anna Gonzalez. So that's the seminar. College writing is required of all students virtually here at WashU, except for a few exceptions in engineering. And then one of these classes, if you have a first year student here in Beyond Boundaries, they must take one of these classes. These are all Beyond Boundaries classes, again, taught by 2 faculty across 2 divisions at WashU, and up to 75 students each in each of these courses. You'll see my own class there on creativity is currently being taught this fall. We've got one of the popular ones is When I'm 64 on aging. That Endgame of Entrepreneurship class is actually very popular as well. First Future, and then sorry that text is in the way. There's also one on called Art of Medicine, across art and arts and sciences, Romance language more specifically. I want to turn it over to Jenny here to talk about the spring, looking ahead. Your students are required by Sunday, actually Halloween, if you have a first-year student here, to decide between one of 5 classes that they take in the spring. We've got 3 on tap that are full-flown Beyond Boundaries courses, up to 75 students each. 2 of them are brand new, St. Louis and the Documentary Image and Environmental Racism and the Health of Everyone. Those 2 are brand new, and the Sustainability course, which is very popular. Those are, again, open to all first-year students, and Beyond Boundaries program students are pre-enrolled in these courses. But then, I'll turn it over to Jenny, we've got 2 Bear Bridge courses.
Yeah, so what you may have noticed about the Beyond Boundaries courses is it's bringing together faculty from across the institution to talk about issues, challenges, problems in the community and in the world, and how we might bring an interdisciplinary lens to solve them. And the Bear Bridge courses takes that a step further and actually engages our local community in that problem solving alongside us. And so it's an opportunity for students to ground their education very locally here in the St. Louis community and explore some issues that they may be interested in. So Law, Race, and Design is a deep look at how those 3 elements, law, well, really law and design, have a racialized reality to them, and how does that create our policy? How does that create our built environment? How does that create where people live and the opportunities that they have? And so looking deeply at that through the lens of St. Louis, traveling around the city, meeting with residents of this place and really asking hard questions about why the city is the way it is. And then Empathy First, which is the class that I teach with my colleagues in the Syntax Fox Goal is Kramer, is really a methods course. So it's about how do we think about problems through the lens of empathy? How do we really think about getting the people we're designing for as part of the conversation and creating solutions? And how do we build the capacity and skills to be empathic problem solvers? We go through a series of kind of exercises in the class around a social issue. We did walkability 2 years ago during the pandemic year, and we're actually going to re-enter into the walkability space again, because that's one of the challenges of the city. And really thinking about, like, what does it mean to create a walkable community for a family with children? What does it mean to create a walkable community for someone who walks as their commute? What does it mean to create a walkable community for someone who walks for exercise? And then a new question, which is, how do you create a walkable community for people who are walking for socialization? What we saw during the pandemic is that people really got out and did walks together 6 feet apart, in a way that some of the local parks here closed to car traffic so that more people could be walking in the community. So really thinking about, through engagement with those different constituencies, through understanding their stories, how we might be able to design better communities. So it's a lot of fun. Both of these classes are great and really anchor students in this place that they're learning.
Now, one thing I want to say about those Bear Bridge courses as well is they're only open to Beyond Boundaries program students. So they are hidden technically in the catalog, and other students can't see them. And it's really a great way for, again, to build community within the program itself. Moving on, I just want to kind of talk about a few ways to connect with us. As you may know, you can find us on multiple social media platforms, Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. We have a brand new YouTube page as well that has a lot of, everything's kind of organized by playlist. And I will say there's a parents playlist, so check it out. Those are all linked from our website. There's also this podcast actually that I think is a great way for not only Beyond Boundaries students, but for faculty and staff to kind of be interviewed by yours truly about a class that they're doing. So students, when they're considering what courses they want to take, they can listen to a quick half-hour podcast interview of those faculty talking about their energy and excitement about those classes. So you'll see all the ones here are actually our current students. Have done a number of podcast interviews with current students, and it's always a lot of fun. And I kind of miss them sometimes, or I did when COVID hit. I still miss them, but you know. And then I also just emailed you all, this is brand new as well to us. We hired Sean Zhu on the right here to, he's one of our first year students, to basically curate and compile a newsletter that will be issued every month. So the October newsletter is out already in PDF form, and we intend on sharing it with all parents and family members that we have on our database, on our distribution list. And it'd just be a nice way for you to check in by reading about the students we have in the program. This is Jonah Zacks, who's one of our first-year students in the program as well. So that's a new way to connect with us that we're pretty excited about. That is, I believe, yes, that's it.